Good morning. I designed and built this nut stand for my dad's 60th, made from pallet palings and non-structural pine. If you're interested in building your own or something similar, this video will go over the construction of the build. The next video will be on the making of the signs, and the third video will be about the jars, labels, and nuts. I will link to the playlist in the description below where you can find all 3 videos of this build. Starting with the top, middle, and base of the build. For the majority of the frame, I am ripping the 35x70 down the table saw to get more from my materials. For the middle section, I am leaving the 35x70 as is. This will create a strong and supportive way to carry the nut stand around. I'm using chipboard screws because they are affordable. These overhangs are what will become the handles. Cut 2 palings to the ideal height, attach them to the top and base piece, then add the middle section. To cover the front impalings, I laid it down and alternated between full lengths and half lengths just to add a bit of character. Fill in the middle shelf with palings. Same for the bottom shelf. For the tall back vertical lengths, I run them through the planer to take off the rough faces. The boys are always climbing on and hopping in everything that I build.
I love this bed, Mom.
You love this bed?
Cheese.
It's not a bed.
Cheese. It's a bed. It's a bed, Mom.
Would you sleep in that all night?
Yeah.
Would you sleep in it out here?
Yeah.
Really?
Add 1 paling at the top of the backboard to keep the vertical lengths evenly spaced, and then fill in the rest of the area. Using the jigsaw to cut out the areas around the handles, then continue to fill in the side walls with palings.
Hello.
Hello. Having a good sleep in there?
Yeah. Great building, Mom.
Thanks, darling.
Moving on to the 2 higher display shelves. Decided on where I wanted them to be, mark out the holes, then drill and attach through the back. Then made a simple frame. The top shelf is narrower than the lower shelf, giving it a cascading effect. Jigsaw cuts where needed, chipboard screws to attach, ripped palings to create a trim around the shelves, chamomile tea to help visualize the nut jars. Moving on to the bench top, I am attaching this from the underside to hide the screw heads. To create a sturdy lip around the edge, I ripped some 30mm lengths, pre-drilled and also attached from the underside. Sanded the corners because this height is about the same as my kid's head height. I used a water-based stain in the colour Merbau, watered it down to a 1:1 ratio, ran out of stain but found this old can in the back of the cupboard. For the sign at the top, I am running the palings horizontal at the back and vertical at the front, attaching from the back side, making sure the notched area matches the triangle template. To mount the sign, I created a bracket that is supported both inside and on top of the backboard. Flip the sign over and attach the bracket. Moving on to the curtains at the back, cut a length of round bar, remove the side paling and drill a hole larger than the diameter of the curtain rod. Give it a coat of paint to prevent rust. Thread the bar through the drill holes and reattach the palings. Add a final paling at the back to hide the curtain rod. I bought this upholstery fabric many years ago and I use it for everything. I cut 2 panels, overlocked all the edges and hemmed the sides. I did a wider hem on the top edge, leaving plenty of room to thread onto the curtain rod. Time to paint. I'm using red, yellow and green poster paint, laying out the fabric, getting some water and adding the paint. Brush that into the fabric. Adding the green to the leftover yellow and water that down a bit more. Lightly brush the green over some of the yellow section to create a gradient. Red paint on the top section, add some yellow to the leftover red to create an orange, then blend that between the red and yellow sections. Once they are dry, thread them onto the curtain rod. Well, that is the basic part of the build done. The next video is on everything involving the squirrel signs, the colored triangles, and the lighting. If you liked this video or found it somewhat helpful, then give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can give me a thumbs down if you like, but either way, I hope I see you next time.